We are live. How about that? Very cool. If you can hear me over in the YouTube chat, please say hello so that I know that the audio is coming through. So again, if you can hear me, please raise your hand in the chat and say hi. And this will be in the YouTube chat right here. I just sent a message there as well. Yeah. All right. Cool. We're just gonna wait just a moment until we get a few more people that have expressed a desire to join. Right. Again, if you can hear me, then head over to the chat in the YouTube chat and say hello. So I make sure that my audio is coming through okay for everybody. Like this. All right. Right. All right. Great. Okay. I think we are good to start. And sure that my connections are all there. Very cool. All right. Alrighty, let's jump right in here. I'm going to hit record. This is going to be recorded and it'll be available for replay on mastermind.com. So yeah, the recording has just begun. If you are seeing this outside of mastermind.com, if you're watching this live, the replay of this video will be available on mastermind.com. Search for my name, Mark Evans. You can't miss me. I'm right there on the front page, right next to Russell Brunson. And this is in the free webinar course for Launch That App. So the replay will be in there. So mastermind.com and search for my name. There are people that are attending that wanted to know a little bit about my recording setup, and let me walk you through that just real quick, and then we can do even a separate deep dive on that. My previous recordings were leveraging the mastermind.com webinar platform. They have some software that lets you invite up to 25 people to simultaneously watch a course or a webinar or whatever. But it's not just limited by the number of people that can watch at the same time. It's actually limited in what you can do with it during and after. So a good example is it won't let you do something like this where I can dismiss my picture momentarily and have control over that, or go directly to a full screen of myself, these types of things. And so these functionalities are enabled by the system that I've set up. And I'll just tell you what the components are of them, and then if you're curious about how to set it up for yourself, I'm happy to help you do that. But I'm using my iPhone for the camera, so that's what I'm looking into is my iPhone. On my iPhone, there is a software called Camo, C-A-M-O. I plug my iPhone into my MacBook. On my MacBook, I have software called Camo Studio that will receive my iPhone's camera output and then have that ready to be used as a camera input, video input, into OBS. So OBS is open broadcast software, which allows you to do some real-time transitions like I just showed you, like this one, where it, appear, disappear, switch your camera angle, things like that. OBS. And then from OBS, I'm streaming to YouTube. And the way you do that is you grab your stream key from your youtube.com account, drop it into the OBS software on your computer, and then from there you just you configure your layout on OBS. And once you've configured it, like for example, I've decided to be in the bottom right corner of the screen. If I wanted to, I think I can do this in real time. I can move myself to a different part. So it gives you a lot of control over how things are visually represented while you're recording. And so I really like that software. It also lets you, like I said, transition between cameras. So once I have it configured, I hit stream, which I did, and then YouTube's just waiting because I told it I wanted to go live. YouTube is waiting for a stream to show up, and once it shows up, then you're able to see it. I also, while it's streaming, I record on my machine locally just in case something goes wrong with the stream. I'll have a copy of it local. So that's kind of the setup. And again, like, you could message me and let me know if you want details on how to set it up if you are curious and would like to set it up for yourself. All right, I'm going to move myself back into the bottom right corner here, and one of the last sessions I did, one of the live sessions, I should have removed myself from the corner because it was covering some important text. I'll try to remember not to do that this time. All right, so let's talk about why we're here. Unless you were here for the tutorial on setup, we're here to talk about launching mobile apps. I teach a course called Launch That App. Several courses actually on mastermind.com, specifically helping people launch mobile apps if they aren't technical. So non-technical folks, but they want to launch an app because they are convinced, and they're most likely right, that they have an idea that would do really well as an app. They have some sort of product or service that would do really well as an app and that would solve a specific problem that they are passionate about. And so all of the courses that I offer are geared toward helping individuals connect the dots in how to gather the resources, go through the right planning process, identify a developer, work effectively with that developer, not waste money with the developer. Like, there's a lot of interaction with developers, and so we go pretty deep into that. And yeah, the course is designed to help you leave with all of the knowledge and I guess know-how that you need to go succeed in launching an app. So before I tell you the entire contents of my presentation here, let's just go through it. So the idea is launching a profitable app faster and cheaper, right? Without learning to write a single line of code. So this is not, more power to you if you can write code. That's amazing. Like, it helps actually a lot if you're wanting to help in the development process, but it's absolutely not required. I want to give you the knowledge and tools you need so that you can go out and work confidently with a developer and not have to be a developer yourself to succeed. Okay. Building software is not easy to do, and anyone who's ever tried, they've said those exact words. It's not easy. And if you ever looked at the code that is generated from a software developer, and you've just thought to yourself, man, that's Greek to me. I don't know what in the world is going on here. Those aren't even sentences. They're just they're characters that I recognize. That's the alphabet. But what's all this punctuation and all this weird indentation? I don't understand. And that's just looking at the code. Understanding what the code actually does is just a whole nother level of confusing. And then turning that code into something that is useful, that's what building software is all about. Okay? But you can do it. You can do it with the right team, with the right resources, with the right knowledge. You absolutely can do it. I should say absolutely, but you absolutely can do it. Okay, so the goal for today. So if you're just starting out, there's a goal that I have for you, that by the end of this, you will know how to launch an app. You won't be able to actually do it by the end of this, but you'll know how. You'll know the steps and you'll know what's required so that you can confidently go out and take the first steps. I also want to instill in you, and even if you don't decide to go forward with more of the courses that I offer, I want you to know how crucial and central the role of the non-technical people are in launching a mobile app that actually succeeds. There's if anything, if you walk away with that knowledge that, you know what, the people who are non-technical play almost as an important role, if not a more important role than the people who can technically implement this stuff. So yeah, I'm saying it. You're more important than a software developer when it comes to launching an app. And I strongly believe that. So hopefully by the end of this, you can walk away with that same conviction. If you're somewhere in the middle of the development process, this also is set up to help you and benefit you and give you some hope if you've become stuck. There's a lot of things that become confusing very quickly. You get excited about an app idea, you mock up some wireframes, and then you engage with a developer who's more than happy to take the work and do it for you for a fee. But then once they start the work, you're not really sure what happens next. You aren't sure if they're going fast enough or if their responses are good enough, or you might even ask yourself, should I have gone with a different developer with different skills? So all of these types of questions will start coming up if you've already started the process. And I'm working with quite a few people right now in the course that have already started their projects and they're already building an app with developers, but they aren't sure what steps they need to take next. There's a lot of different things going on, a lot of balls in the air and a lot of unfamiliar territory. And so the whole course is designed to help you feel comfortable with the process, know the process, and own it. I mean, they're not going to own it for you. They'll just want to keep charging you for more time, and that's just the nature of the beast. Owning the strategy for your project is something that I feel very strongly will be will help you launch that app, right? Okay. So with the right frameworks and guidance, you can absolutely launch that app that's in your mind and your heart, that's on paper possibly, or even already in the hands of a developer that you're not quite sure how to manage. With the right frameworks and guidance, I want to help you get there. So let's talk a little bit about me. So I actually worked at a tech company you might have heard of. I worked at Apple, and I worked there for a number of years, 5 years, doing some really, really cool stuff. I'm actually a lawyer by training, and I got a master's in business, and I studied supply chain management and intellectual property law. And these two things I'm very passionate about. What brings those two things together for me is that I get to work with engineers very closely to make sure that their ideas are protected, which I just feel very strongly about, promoting and protecting the intellectual property of some of our most creative folks. That, and then I also get to help with the enabling of building stuff. So engineers are trying to connect with resources to build their product. I worked very much in that niche while I was at Apple, and some of the coolest stuff that have been released in the last several years, I had a huge part in enabling. And so to respect the NDAs, we won't describe the details. But I have a huge passion for connecting the engineers with the business opportunity. And so I'm sitting here right in the middle, wanting to help you connect your idea with engineering resources and with the technical know-how, because your idea is like, it's powerful. It has a lot of potential. And if we can get that idea and connect it with the right resources and the right skill sets, it will let you launch that app. If it's a mobile app that you're wanting to launch, we can launch it together. So that's a little about my history. So this picture, this was early on when I was at Apple. This was a kind of exciting thing. They're like celebrities to me. These are the senior leadership at Apple. Johnny Ive, I don't know if you are familiar with the leadership there. I worked there, so I knew him. But Johnny Ive, he's no longer with Apple, but he was a chief design officer, and he's the guy with the British accent that you would hear during the product videos who make you could sell ice to Eskimos, right? He's that kind of guy. Phil Schiller is the chief marketing guy who just became a fellow at Apple, and that guy's a marketing genius, right? Everything that Apple's been doing for the last 40 years, he's had a hand in it. And then this picture also, there's Lorraine Powell. It's a former Steve Jobs' wife, actually. Okay, and then the inventor of the internet. This is, like I said, kind of a cool moment for me. Al Gore, celebrity. He invented the internet, I guess. I don't know how that works. He says he did. And then Eddie Q. He's over the Beats, Apple Music, iTunes Store, like Apple TV Plus, all that stuff. That's the guy in the purple right there. Okay. All right. So how did I get to where I am today? Like, honestly, I've always wanted to build software, and I wanted to build software that mattered. And if you know you want to do something like badly, you also know that in order to do it all the time, you need to make money doing it. And so I wanted to build software that mattered, that also could make me money. And maybe you feel this way. Maybe there's something inside of you that is like just kind of burning a hole that's like, hey, I want to get out. But your mind is telling you, I'm not sure exactly how to help you do that, Mr. Strong Emotion. I'd love to have you see the light of day, but I don't know what to do. That was me. Like, I didn't know what to do to get the ideas out of my head. I didn't know how to build what I wanted to build. I had the vision of things and solutions that I wanted to bring into the world, but I just didn't know how to do it. I felt like I was not technical enough in a way. And so I started to read as many technical things as I could. I even took I took computer science classes, and I went and I read giant like computer technician manuals, and I was like, how in the world do I get into this space and get the skills I need to build stuff? At the end of the day, it wasn't about wanting to be the builder. It was about wanting to express the idea. It's like, how do I get the idea out into the world? And a lot of times we feel like we need to do that ourselves. We feel like, okay, the only way to get this thing expressed is if I do it. Well, that can be kind of problematic if you don't have the skills to do it. And so you have a decision to make. You're either going to go spend years obtaining the skills you need, or you can figure out how to connect with the right skills, and then you can guide the process, right? And that's what this is all about, right? So my first big attempt, and this is fun because I get to talk about a failure. Maybe it's fun for me, or it's fun for you, not for me. My first big attempt at building something. It was a huge idea. At the time, I was in college, and a group of friends of mine, and one in particular, my friend Tom, he and I we sat and we dreamed of creating a social networking platform that was centered around politics. And you're probably thinking, that's a horrible idea. Well, for us, it was an awesome idea because we saw so many times where people would have shallow arguments about politics, and we were so interested in the depths and the nuances of all the different political issues. And we thought, you know what, everyone has a rational argument, even though they disagree. So maybe we could create a social platform where people could engage in a civil way. Now, thinking back and just repeating this, I'm like, do I have that confidence today? I don't know. But we wanted to build a place that people could engage in a civil way with each other, right? And this was going to be a web platform, and people could log in and create accounts and create a profile and connect with people and engage in dialogue with each other in a civil way. And this is the internet, so just thinking back, that's kind of funny to me. But we wanted to build this, and so we needed money, and in order to get money, because we were poor college students, we tried to look for different opportunities to raise money, and we came across an opportunity to apply for a grant from the university, where the university would give us money to go out and build something meaningful that would benefit the community. So we made our pitch. We said we want to build this platform, this web platform, and it's going to have all these benefits to the community. People can engage in political discourse and not fight. Yeah, well, they still probably fight, but a civil way and a platform that would enable like real discourse, right? And they accepted our pitch. We got fully funded. They gave us $10,000 to go out and build this thing. Okay, now that's where the story ends and starts. Okay, and that's because they gave us this money, and we, even though we had like this plan that we kind of sketched out on paper, we didn't really know what to do. Like, we hadn't really built a product like this before. We hadn't really gone through the process of understanding all the resources and the relationships and the timelines and the requirements documents and the definition of what we needed to build. Like, we didn't know all this stuff, and so we were kind of flying by the seat of our pants, and we thought maybe if we engaged like a software development company, they would help kind of shuttle this along and make it happen, make our dream become a reality. Well, what happened was a software company was more than willing to sit with us and hear our pitch and then also accept our money. But what we quickly realized was that they weren't very invested in our idea that was, in our opinion, the best idea ever. And that was kind of a difficult thing for us, but we didn't realize it soon enough, because by the time we realized that nobody was going to do all these things for us, that we had to know the process for ourselves, and there was no one there to partner with, like I'm offering now. Like, there wasn't a version of myself back then that could help marshal us through this process. And as a result, the project ran out of money, and we didn't have the thing built. And we had assumed that, if we had budgeted properly, by the time we ran out of money, we would have been completed with the project. But for some reason, the money ran out before the project was finished. Who would have thought, right? Over budget. And so there was no more money because it was grant money and it was gone. And so that was pretty disappointing. The whole saga of iPolitical.com it kind of hurt. It kind of stung a little bit. And what I did was I became kind of disenchanted with engaging with external folks, and I went back into my inner self, and I started to really think about, okay, maybe I need to have the technical skills again. Like, maybe I have to do it because other people just don't get it. They don't understand what I'm trying to accomplish, and so I'm just going to have to do everything myself. And that led to like a series of just like almost completed projects and like almost understood concepts and skills that were almost developed, but never to the point where I was an expert like the people that I had hired to do iPolitical. They were experts, but they just didn't get the guidance. And I realized that it wasn't the developer's fault, and it wasn't that software company's fault that our project failed. And it wasn't the fact that we didn't have enough money. That wasn't it. The whole problem with the whole thing was that we didn't actually know how to manage the process. We didn't know what steps in what order needed to take place in order to succeed. Okay, that was the problem. And that stung. And that realization, stepping back and realizing that, I thought, you know what, let's try this again. Because I think if we approach it the right way, and we do rely on external resources and help from developers, but if we engage them in the right framework, and if we know the strategies to implement and the pitfalls to avoid, I think we might be able to get this right. Okay, so I spent countless hours obtaining skills to be a developer, which weren't really, worthwhile. And I learned one lesson from that, and that is that knowledge of what needs to be done was enough, right? The technical skills are optional. As long as I know what needs to be done and who needs to do it, the technical skills were optional. Okay, now this should feel empowering to you. If you were in my position, it was like, oh, good, I don't have to know how to write the lines of code to get a piece of software built. That's awesome. Okay, well, the technical skills are optional, right? Now, amplifying the other people's skills is the secret weapon. So it's learning how to leverage the technical skills and the technical resources that are available to you. That is how you actually win. And that's what I started to realize. And so complementary skills, when they're leveraged properly, that's when you can change the world. You cannot do it yourself. Even though, I don't know who says it, give me a lever big enough and I'll move the world. Well, give me a team with the right skills and we can change the world, right? We can put a dent in the universe, as folks from Apple used to say, right? So this is the Launch That App formula, and like each one of these areas, just like tons more depth, but just at a high level, right? The process involves like knowing the process and then owning the process. Okay, so what are the steps? Okay, now I know them so well that I own them. So I don't need to actually do all the steps. I need to know all the steps, and then I need to own the execution of it, right? Part of it is leading technical teams without being technical. Technical folks really respond well to a certain type of engagement. And I'm not saying that, they're not social. I'm saying that they are very, very social in their own way, and they have skills that are insanely valuable, and they know it. And if you don't recognize it, that's going to cause some serious issues, right? And subtle things can communicate that, undervaluing their work or pitching them a project to have them work for free in exchange for their labors. Like there's a lot of things, and we do talk in depth in the course, right? We talk at length about selecting app features that leverage powerful technologies. So when you do want to launch something into the world that people love, you got to use the technologies that people expect an awesome product will have. If you've been paying attention to the latest update from Apple this last week, iOS 14, there's some really cool stuff in there. If you were to go launch a mobile app in the next couple of months and your app didn't leverage any of that new stuff that they announced, like how do you expect to succeed when you're ignoring what people are most excited about, right? So understanding what those features are and making sure that your app or your solution has it, very crucial, right? Again, creating an app brand that stands out. I did a survey, and in the course we go through this in detail, but there are 4.3 million apps on the iOS App Store alone, right? And I'm sure you're not aware of more than 500, probably not more than 100 apps. And you think, well, why is that? And why are there so many when I don't need that many options? And then, the real question here is, how do I succeed? Well, that's what an app brand is. Like, you need to have a brand, a personality, and a community around your app as if it's a movement. Apps that have that, they stand alone, they stand apart, they stand out, and they get the downloads, the purchases, they make a lot of money, okay? That's part of the formula as well. And then you have to build a sustainable app model around your app. So your app is going to have this is kind of a early app store problem where people would sell an app for 99 cents. They'd sell like 300,000 of them. You're like, that's a lot of money in the first month. But then they wouldn't sell anymore because, the people already made their purchase. Why? I'm not going to come back and buy again. And so there's this business model problem. Like, it's a one and done business model. Like, that's not sustainable at all. So we need to have a sustainable business model that leverages all of the different technologies available. So in-app purchases, subscriptions, follow-on apps, like all of these things play into success, long-term success. And the idea of increasing your app's profits exponentially is super exciting because you just launch into the stratosphere. I got an email the other day from a gentleman. He says, what, we are getting 40,000 new accounts in our app every day, and he's like, we are poised to have over 1 million users any day now, but we have some issues with the App Store. Help us resolve it. And it's crazy because if you hit that right clip in the App Store and that right clip in your community and in social media, you are immediately just like launched to the front page of the App Store, and you get downloads like nobody's business. And so making sure that is a part of your strategy and you know how to do it, right? That's part of our formula, okay? Now I want to talk to you about leveraging a formula like that in another project that I was a part of. It was like redo time, right? Let's try this again, but let's come at it with a different angle. Now, what you're looking at here is it's a 3D printed prototype with some cool tech inside. But this is a lamp, if you didn't know what it was, but inside of it is a safe. There was a safe that was hidden inside of this lamp. And this is a product that me and a team put together. We invented it, we patented it, we started to sell the prototypes. We even ran a Kickstarter on it, and so the tech inside, it'll just blow your mind, right? There's a mechanical engineering element, an electrical engineering element, a software engineering element, and then we had like a home automation platform integration as well. So hardware, software, services, and then we had the electrical engineering. Like the team, it was a very small team, but all of those different disciplines were working together to build this thing. Okay, so here's a little video clip, if I can play it, of what it would do. Right, you would activate it with your smartphone. It would open up, and then you could close it with your smartphone. While it's closed, it doesn't look like anything, right? When it's open, it exposes the drawers. You can pull things out of there. In this case, it's a bedside lamp that is concealing a firearm, and it's unassuming. And that was the whole idea, right? So we had these things. We built them. We did it. Like, this was probably the most satisfying thing ever. Okay, that's the hardware. That was the hardware and the mechanical engineering and the electrical engineering together. Okay, now this next one, this is a software. Okay, of course you need the software to control it. What we did here was, this was back when ARKit from Apple was like brand new. No one was using it yet, and we're like, let's put it into our software so people can place this thing on their nightstand and try it out, and then they can buy it right from there, right? So, and we integrated. There's Apple Pay. I apologize for the UI because it is not gorgeous, but functionally it was there, right? Awesome stuff. These achievements wouldn't have been possible if this framework wasn't in place, right? Opening and closing. In a later build of the software, you could turn the lights on and off. Great stuff. And so, like, this is highly technical stuff. Okay, I'm sitting in the middle of all of this, between the hardware, the software, the services, mechanical engineering, right? And just crazy amount of technical stuff going on across several different disciplines. And I'm not a mechanical engineer. I'm not an electrical engineer. I'm not a software engineer, right? I'm none of those things. But the project got built. We built it. We built an e-commerce store. We built a website. We did the whole 9 yards. And that was from my managing of the team according to this formula, right? Owning it, knowing it, owning it, right? Running the team, asking the questions that others won't ask because they're afraid of looking like they don't understand, right? So much is possible if you know how to do it, right? If you know the approach. You don't need to be the engineer, but you can add value like you can't believe, like you wouldn't believe, right? So here's kind of one of my favorite, this is a 3D render, but as you can tell from the actual prototypes, our 3D renders and our prototypes, they were very much the same thing. It was a super exciting product, right? So here we are at a trade show. This was like this was actually at a firearms gun show in Utah, where the team was there showing off our stuff. I was interviewed by I don't know who that was, people that interview startups, I guess. And then we had the team here on the bottom right. I guess let me move myself here. There we go. Yep, down the bottom right here, where we're doing some machining and some mill work with all the different metal parts. Like this cast iron tube that the safe would sit inside of. Pretty cool stuff. So again, the Launchset app formula: know the process and own the process. Lead technical teams without being technical. Okay. Select app features or technology features that leverage powerful technology, right? Make a brand that is driven by your community, right? Have a community around your brand and your mission, okay? Make sure your business model is sustainable around the app, and then learn the secrets to increasing profitability, right? That is follow-on sales, follow-on remarketing, enhancing products with new features. Like, there's so many different ways that you can monetize an app, and because it is the oversimplified and a much bigger opportunity even than what I just showed you with that lamp. You wouldn't believe how much is right on the table in front of you, just right for the taking. Okay. So I don't know what is holding you back. Hopefully you're starting to get the idea that there are things that you have access to. Through me, through the courses that I offer, you have access to the resources necessary to launch that app. But maybe you feel like, oh, I have no formal degree. I know I mentioned I have some degrees, but that isn't what actually enabled me to do what I have done. That's not it. So that shouldn't hold you back, but maybe that is holding you back. Maybe you don't feel like you have a track record of success that you can lean on. Maybe you have a past failures, and so you're afraid of failing again. Well, we've all been there, right? We've all been there, but there's always something different that you can do because people are having success. In fact, everyone that stops trying, I think there's a 100% rate of failure, right? The people that succeed, they keep trying. They get back on that horse and they keep going at it. But this time, if you want to launch that app, you have a guide, right? Maybe you don't feel like you can do it because you don't have a technical co-founder. That's okay too. You don't actually have to have a technical co-founder if you know what needs to be done. Not at the technical level, but if you know what needs to be done, you can launch that app, right? So what's holding you back? Hopefully nothing now. Hopefully you're just fully confident to just jump right in. But like stare it down, face on, honestly. This time in the world it's like things that you're hesitant to do, things that you're afraid of, like there's no time for that anymore, right? If you're wanting to do something big and meaningful, just start doing it. Gather the resources and the help and the support and the motivation that you need and just start, right? And hopefully this course is helping you to get the idea that you can start and it's going to be all right if you have the right team and the structure and the guide. So let's talk about Launch That App. Like, what is it? It's my branding of what I'm offering on mastermind.com, Launch That App. And again, the whole purpose is to help folks like yourself launch a mobile app. Launch one that you're proud of. Launch one that makes you some money. Launch one that makes a difference in the world. I want to help you launch that app, and I feel like super excited about the people that have already started helping because they have such great ideas and so much passion, and they are just so ready to just have their app launch into the world. And it's clear that there are, despite that passion, there's gaps in abilities, right? There's gaps in knowledge. There's gaps in skills, and so filling those gaps, sometimes they don't even realize there's gaps, right? Helping fill those gaps has been so satisfying, and it's something that is like super transformative, let alone how much money they have been saving by not having to go re-engineer things or overpay developers for timelines that slip or feature sets that someone suggests to them that are absolutely not even necessary, which you could cut the entire cost in half of whatever the development price would be, right? Which more than pays for whatever the course will cost that I'm offering. So it's like, these people are going to launch an app that makes them so much money and helps them make a difference. And it's so exciting for me to be a part of that. So there's a lot of text here, but this is the idea. Like with Launch That App, the program that I offer, you'll be able to design a user experience. That's part of it, right? With zero technical know-how. So we walk through the process of what are you actually trying to achieve? What problem are you solving? And in order to solve that for someone, what experience do you need to provide them? And how does your app play into that? What experience does your app provide? Okay, we cover that. More importantly, I think in the very beginning is we talk about validating your app idea. There are so many ideas out there that are they're just bad ideas. Okay, like you might think they're a good idea, but they're not. But you don't know that. And sometimes it's scary to have your ideas examined. But we examine ideas and we validate ideas in a way that is very approachable. It's not like, oh, we're going to trash on your idea. We actually look at it from a market perspective, and we look at it from a perspective of why did this come to you? What problem were you solving for yourself? And are there enough people in the world that have the same problem to where it would make sense to turn it into a product, right? And we go through that process to help people understand whether or not their app is a good idea or not. And even if it's not, even if it's a niche idea, it could still be a fantastic idea if there are enough people in that niche. And you'd be surprised how many people are in these niches globally. It's because that's your market. You're not shipping anything. There's no physical products. Apps have a global market. It's a beautiful thing. Okay, we'll validate those ideas. We'll talk about how to find the right developer. Like, people go find whatever developer Google tells them, or they'll go to Fiverr, or they'll go to Elancer, or they'll go to like freelance stuff, or they'll just use the developer that their friend recommended. That's like the way that you would find something that you didn't care very much about because you didn't really know how to do it right, and you're just hoping that the internet gives you the very best outcome. It's hopeful thinking, and I've been there. Like, that's how my very first project, that iPolitical, that's how we did that. And look where that got us. Like, it didn't actually help us launch anything meaningful because, the people that we found were more interested in ranking high on Google than actually helping us build our product. And so making sure that you connect with the right resources. Every developer, not all developers are created equal. Not all developers have the same skill sets. Not all developers can build apps on all platforms or on the platform that you're targeting. And so figuring out how to get the right one the first time and give them the right instructions the first time will save you a ton of time and a ton of money. In Launch That App, we dive deep into creating a user experience that keeps the user engaged. We help re-engage them through notifications. We leverage all the latest technology from Apple, for example, with widgets. Check that out. So awesome. If you updated to iOS 14, it's there now. Widgets, app clips, push notifications, local notifications, and in-app interrupt notifications in the event they're already in your app and you want to get their attention and tell them something like, hey, we have a special deal going on, or buy this thing now and you'll get a discount. Or just, hey, I noticed you're in the app and I wanted to share my very important message with you about something I learned the other day, right? There's so many ways to interact with your user. We go through all of them, okay? So the idea of notifications, I'll just say this. If you are relying on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube to push your content to your users through their apps, you are missing out on a huge opportunity to have your own real estate on people's lock screen. If you notice, when you get a notification from Facebook or Instagram or YouTube, they deliver them in stacks, right? And you could be stacked behind somebody else, 5 behind, 10 behind. You have no control over it, okay? Even if they subscribe to you, they might also be subscribed to several others. As a result, what you need to do is when you have your own app, that real estate is your own real estate. Nobody gets to stack on top of you. Anything else that you post is all underneath your own stack, and you then own real estate on the home screen right next to Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and you and your brand. That isn't something that comes for free. That doesn't happen for everybody. Like, it doesn't happen even with email, because email, they also get stacked. The only way to have your own dedicated real estate on somebody's mobile lock screen is to have your own app. Period. Okay? That's all I'll say about that for now. The App Store submission process, if you've been paying attention to that at all recently, there's just a lot of different nuances. You got to get that right, and if you get it wrong, then you get rejected. Getting rejected makes things very difficult.
Dad, this is not glass.
Okay. Hi there.
Look.
Okay.
See, it's not glass.
I'm recording live online right now. Can you run upstairs?
My wife.
Okay.
Santa, Santa, This is Santa, Dad.
Okay, great.
See?
So getting the App Store submission right is crucial, and there's a lot of stuff going on there. So getting rejected is kind of a thing that's avoidable if you know what to do, okay? And we'll walk through the process of getting your app approved the first time, okay? So there's a bunch of different offerings. We have this course here. Like every Friday I jump on here at the same time, and talk about the program, talk about different things that people are able to do with the program, how you can interact with it, and launch your app, right? And see what's available. The next one we have is, this is a fun course that I'm doing. This is called, Almost a Developer. Take the next step toward writing your first app. So in here, I'm actually doing development work. I'm writing code, and I'm also showing you how to build different user interface elements. The next one is working with developers, project management, and communication strategies that get you results. This course is specifically designed to help you with like the soft skills, the interpersonal skills necessary to succeed while working with developers, which if it's something that you've had a pain point with in the past, you'll understand how important it is to get along. They might not have respect for you. You might not have respect for them, which makes a very difficult project. And you're likely to fail. You can almost guarantee failure if you're not getting along and working well with your developers. And it doesn't have to be that way. You don't have to sit back and say, we're different, so therefore we don't get along. Like, you can be different and you can have synergies, and then you do get along because you succeed together. That course is all about solving those problems. This one's fun too. Self-branded apps. Maybe you're an influencer, right? And you actually are trying to get a hold of your audience all day long. Like, you want to be at the top of their notifications. You want them to always tap on the links when you publish new content. Well, you can nearly guarantee that all of them will if you have your own app that is also occupying its own real estate on the home screen. So imagine a scenario. I send a tweet and I want all my followers to see it. Or I post a YouTube video and I want all my followers to see it. If I post it, and I will, to Twitter and YouTube, it'll show up in those stacks. But if I also post it to my own app with my own notifications, it will sit there at the top in its own little real estate, never to be sat on top of by any other app, and I'll always be seen. I'll always be right there, right? Nearly guarantee, interaction from your users with a self-branded app. Sorry, but that course, you'll receive a template self-branded app that has all these things built into it. So it's almost like you'll get the app for free. You don't even have to go talk to a developer. You might want to take the app and go take it to a developer if you want to make some enhancements or tweaks, but you'll get that as part of the course. Cool. It's pretty cool. Huh? So App Traffic Secrets, this one's the newer one that I put together, and this is all about driving additional downloads, purchases, subscriptions, getting people just hooked on your product, loving it, buying it, giving you money to just give them more, right? All about driving traffic, downloads, and purchases. Then we have the Launch That App Foundations. This one is like a middle of the road thing because we have some lower end, lower price things that are spot courses. Launch That App Foundations is all of the course content, but without the coaching and the one-on-one. Okay, so everything that you need to launch your app, your brand, and for your brand or business is in the foundations. You'll get all of that there. Okay, so it's like I'm going to hand you a textbook, essentially. Okay, but what you don't get is what's in the complete version, and the complete version is actually, it's limited in the number of seats because it's very hands-on. I work one-on-one with the people in the complete version. So that one is limited to 15 total mastermind members. Okay, but the Launch That App Foundations is available to anyone, and it's all of the content, all of the video, all of the course material, and the templates and the guidebooks, but not the one-on-one stuff. Okay. But so this is what you get with the Launch That App Complete, and this is like all of it, and it's really, really great. So the lifetime access to updated materials. So every time we go through the course, I do a refresh on the material. So you get it live, but also you're going to get the content next time I do it live because it's going to be new. It's going to be refreshed. It's because new technology comes out like every other hour or more often than that, right? Lifetime access to the material, the updated material, right? You get 6 weeks of live trainings, but you get access to the playback of that as well. So if you missed it, go watch it again. If you watch it live, then you can be in the chat asking questions. You'll also get one-on-one mentoring, and you schedule those in advance. You write your problem. I come to that one-on-one session, and we hash it out, and we figure out the best path forward. You'll get some user interface and user experience templates. And so I'll say, here's a different flow. Let's say you have a cold onboarding. Okay, here's a template for that. You have a warm onboarding to your app. Here's a template for that. And here's a hot one. Like they just want to get to the action right away. Here's a template for that, right? Those are included. Monetization templates. How do I make money with my app? That's included. And then like the self-branded app course, you'll also get that self-branded app that you get to keep for your brand as part of the complete, right? So it's a full solution to all of the problems along the path to launching an app, from the idea phase all the way to the launching phase and getting it submitted and approved on the App Store. Everything, right? And you might not be able to achieve all of those during the course of the 6 weeks, but that's fine. You have access to this thing forever, and you can come back and ask questions as you need to. But the 6-week course is designed to give you all the tools that you need, the knowledge that you need, and access to the resources that you need to succeed. Okay? There is as part of the 6-week course, we go through a lot of different content, and there's course material provided for each one of these sessions. We have special guests that come in. One of my favorite things to do is to introduce people to like real life software developers, like real ones, right? Not people from the movies, but these are like legit people. They have feelings too. But actually, we learn a lot of great things from them and insights about how they look at the process. You will be surprised at how often a software developer is approached. Maybe you won't be surprised, but they think it's funny how often they're approached by people who have a great idea that want them to work for free. And these are software developers who currently have a very well-paying job, right? And they're like, hey, leave your well-paying job, come and work for me for free because my idea is amazing. And the software developer says, no pay. Okay, so when do you think you'll make money? The answer, oh, I'm not sure, but it's going to be a lot. And you can have equity in my company. And they're like, equity in a company that has zero value and no revenue. That sounds amazing, right? And you might think, okay, that does sound silly. But software developers get these propositions all the time. So having them as a guest speaker in the course is actually really fun because you get to hear it from them so that you don't make the mistake. Like you get to hear about everyone else's mistakes so that you don't have to make them. Okay. So the other courses, like I said, we have Launch That App Foundations, Launch That App, the free one that you're watching now, Building Self-Branded Apps, Almost a Developer, and then I didn't write it here, but it's the App Traffic Secrets. And so that's kind of the total offerings there. And so that concludes, we did it in under an hour. Fantastic. Great. That concludes the presentation. And go over to mastermind.com, search Mark, you'll find me there, and you'll be able to check out the courses and see what the offerings are. They're all listed there on mastermind.com under Mark Evans. Thank you for joining. Thank you for watching. Hopefully this was a good introduction to what's possible with launching a mobile app, and I look forward to seeing you again soon over on mastermind.com so that you also can launch that app.